Hi loves, welcome to section 2 mindset. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Had to make some tea. When you guys pop on, say hello, whether you're here live or on the replay. And then if you guys have any questions come up throughout, feel free to drop them in the comments, but we will also be doing like a Q&A probably next week for this section as well. But we might actually be doing multiple like videos for mindset because there's kind of a lot to cover. This is like, I would say like the most important one, and there's like the most to cover in this section of mindset. So I'm just gonna make sure this is working really fast, and then I'll wait a second for you guys to pop on. Okay, cool, it's working. Let me just tag some of you guys in case you guys didn't see it. Hello, hi love. Okay, I'm just gonna tag everyone. Okay, cool. Alrighty, hello. Okay, so today we're talking about mindset. It's gonna be so good. We have so much to talk about, seriously. We might have to break this up into like a live stream or two, or maybe a couple. But I'm just gonna see what we can get through today, and then also see if there's anything else that feels like relevant to this topic. Sound good? All right. Turn that up. I'd like to have it be slightly blinding because then the lighting's really good. Okay, so let's start with like what we talked about in the pre-work. So the pre-work, let me just pull it up really fast so I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But there's one specific part in the pre-work. Okay, so if you got the pre-work, you did it, hopefully. It's stripping the identity of that which you used to be to become who you really are, right? So if you're in this program, it's probably because you've tried launching before and you didn't get the results you wanted, right? Or you're too afraid to launch because there's some like limiting ideas or belief systems or ideas that like there's more you need to know or learn, or that your programs aren't enough, or like whatever the idea is, right? So we tried to like at least somewhat address that in the pre-work so that you guys were ready for this more. But stripping the identity of that which you used to be to become who you really are. You are not the one who fails. You are not the one who doesn't hit his or her goals. You are the one who people love to pay. You are the one with all the loyal fans. You are the one with millions of loyal followers who love to buy from you already. And you guys can kind of tweak these to make them your own, right? For whatever like feels more like it resonates. You are the one who fills her offers and programs. You are led from soul. You are fully supported and do what you want and sell what you want. And then this was like the prompt. What would you have to feel, think, and believe to become this version of you, right? So it's just kind of like checking in with yourself. Like, what are you currently thinking, feeling, and believing about you and launching, right? About launches in general, right? So journal on that. What are you believing about launches in general, right? What are you believing about your launches? What are you believing about your programs, your offers, your price points? Do you believe people want them? Do you believe they're worthy of like transforming people's lives? Do you feel like they're, because you know, I remember for me, like I remember in the beginning of business, I wouldn't even let myself, like when I would announce a new program, I wouldn't even let myself, like even outside of business, right? Like if I was just talking to like a friend who's not even in the coaching space, I would be like, oh, I'm selling something right now. And my mind would go to say, oh, I'm about to launch something, or I'm launching something right now. But I wouldn't even let myself say that because I was like, oh, I'm not one of those people. Like I don't have like those big of results, or like not that many people join my programs. And I'm not, and if like, there was like this, I remember almost saying it on a live stream once, like, oh, I'm launching this or whatever, I'm about to launch this. And I like stopped myself because I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so embarrassing if they thought I was someone who could launch things, right? Like who the fuck do I think I am type of energy and vibe. And I was like, oh my God. And it was just like a bunch of little things like that I had to become aware of and like address and shift, right? But I think you guys, what you really need to realize is like, you're the only one who decides when you're ready and worthy to have like a big outcome for your offers, right? And it's just like like checking in and shifting any of the ideas that say now's not the time, you're not ready yet, or your offers aren't good enough, right? Because all of that stuff is optional, and the timing is whenever the fuck you decide is the time. You know what I mean? So, Don't want to close my journal. Need that page. And then I want you guys to check in on, like this was in the pre-work, right? So what do you need to do differently, right? What do you need to do differently to be more in integrity with that person who has those outcomes, right? And it could be something, and we'll talk more about this in like the strategy part. Like we're gonna make sure like we talk about like strategy in a way that's like aligned. Like I'm not gonna teach you just some like stupid fucking process that's like do this step for step. Like I will let you guys know some things that I feel like are pivotal to having like easier, bigger launches, but like how you do those things is totally up to you, and it's always supposed to be in a way that feels like fun and inspiring and like easy for you, right? Otherwise it's just not going to be fun, you're not going to follow through, and it's just going to like, you're not going to get the outcome or result you want, right? So what do you need to be doing differently, right? To me, when I asked myself that question before I started having bigger launches, there was a vibe around like being more consistent, right? And it was like being more consistent because one, I want to be, right? Like Gianna and I were kind of talking about this today in relationship to like bodies and working out, like, you know, and I was telling her, I was like, I'm not feeling super motivated lately to like go to the gym every day, you know? And I was like that, I don't like that feeling, right? Like I want to go to the gym, right? And she was like, you know, so there's something, and this applies to business too. I was like, well, it makes sense when you say it like that, right? She's like, well, there's something that's feeling off or out of alignment for you in terms of your perspective, because what I really believe is like bodies want to move, right? And like in terms of you doing your soul work, like you want to show up for that. Like you want, like the soul wants to be expressed, the soul wants to teach, the soul wants to contribute, and that is doing so through your bodies of work, through your launches, right? So if you're feeling a resistance around that, there's something going on up here that needs to be addressed, right? So when I acknowledge that when I do want to be consistent, and the part of me that doesn't feel like that or doesn't want to, I need to check in with myself and ask myself why, right? Because I know bodies want to move. My soul wants to be expressed. I want to contribute. I want to help people. And I also want to sell my shit, right? So, what else? Okay. And then who do you need to become? That's the same thing, basically. But, you know, just see what else comes up around that. What past experiences? Okay, this is where I wanted to start today. So I just kind of wanted to like cliff notes of that part. Make sure you do the pre-work if you haven't. And again, we covered this part in the pre-work, but we're going to go a little bit deeper into it today. So I want you guys to clear the past, right? So in the pre-work, I asked you guys, like, what experiences do you need to let go of in order to like easily become the version of you who has bigger launches and who sells other stuff, right? So I know for me, there was like, I've had to let go of like launches that didn't work, flopped launches, right? And I say that in quotes because I don't really believe in flopped launches. I believe like they're all learning experiences. And if we allow ourselves to like look at things from a non-biased or subjective like view or perspective, then we always learn, and it's always helpful and beneficial, right? Just like if a relationship doesn't work out, it's not like, oh my God, I wasted so much time in the wrong relationship. It's like, no, you actually learned a lot from that relationship. So how could that ever truly be a waste of time? You know what I mean? So, I'm just gonna drink some tea really fast from the Rich as Fuck mug. And try not to choke on it. Oh God, I accidentally like took away too big of a drink. Hi, Kirsten. Okay, so what I notice is like for anything, this applies to like money, income goals, relationships, body stuff, like all of it, we have to learn how to let go of the past experiences so that we can choose new things, so that we can choose for things to work out, right? But if we have all this baggage around like, oh, the last time I launched something, it didn't work, that's going to keep us from deciding to have our next launch work, right? Because it's almost like this trauma, right? For lack of a better term, it's like a business trauma or an emotional trauma, meaning like to me, trauma is just something we hold on to that impacts our experience or impacts our ability to expand into more, right? Because there's like a flinching going on within you that's like, if I do this again, right? Like this is gonna be a kind of a fucked up extreme analogy, but it's like, if you've like walked down an alley before and something bad happened in that alley, it's like every time you go to walk down an alley, you're gonna have like the same fears come up. Like, what if that happens again? What if that happens again? What if that happens again, right? And it's like the same thing in business, right? And with money and relationships and body stuff, like all of it across the board, if you don't address those past experiences, and I don't really think like like traumas in business are as extreme as like that analogy that I gave you guys. Oh God, wasp. Fuck. There's a wasp in the house. Gianna! if it comes out, like if I just randomly take off running from the live stream and knock everything over, I'm fucking sorry, but okay. But anyways, so we have to let go of the past, right? In order to be able to choose and decide what we want. Otherwise, that voice that is gonna self-sabotage us, right? It's gonna be like, so let's say you're like about to launch something, right? And you're like, I'm choosing and deciding to have this be like a $50,000 launch, right? I'm choosing and deciding to have it be this goal. It's like when you, one, decide that this is what you want, and two, that you can have it, you can lock into any income goal or any outcome that you want, right? And we're gonna talk more about that in a second. But if there's some past experience or experiences that you're holding on to, they're not going to let you truly decide and lock it in, right? And if you don't truly decide and lock it in, there's like this energy that's like available for less, or like this energy that will waver, right? And if you waver, it's like it's going to be a hell of a lot harder than it needs to be, right? It's going to be hard. And honestly, launches don't have to be hard. Like I'm launching Get Lit right now, and it's been so far my most profitable and easiest launch ever. Like I feel like I'm not even doing anything, but like I'm showing up every day. But it's like because I'm doing it in a way that's like what I want to be doing, right? And I'm selling something I really believe in, something I really care about, and something I'm really excited to sell and share with people, right? And then I'm just doing my part and like following like my launch strategies. And I say like this because it doesn't feel like, oh, it's like a separate from me strategy that I need to implement or whatever. It feels like very much like an extension of me being me, and just like a creative and fun way to share myself and my work and get it out there to more people, right? So it's just really easy is my point. But, you know, I've had plenty of times and experiences in my business where I set a goal and didn't hit it, right? And that's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal unless I make it a big deal. It's not a big deal. Like, if ever you don't hit your goal, like always the subjective or like perspective you should have is like, okay, so I didn't hit the goal. I need to check my boxes and cover my bases and see why, right? Not use it as a thing to make me feel less than, or use it as something to beat myself over the head with, but let me actually genuinely check in and look at the data, right? Was this goal aligned, right? And I'm gonna teach you guys about that in a second. Also, make sure you check out the bonus live stream that I posted in here, like how to set aligned income goals, but we'll talk about that a little bit in this live stream as well. But watch that because that'll help you know like when you're setting goals that are genuinely aligned versus goals that are like, I'm trying to prove something goals, or if I have that, I'll feel really safe or valuable or worthy, like seeking goals, right? If you set a seeking goal, it's not truly like in integrity with your soul and what you truly want right now. And so it's like, you're not going to have that, leverage to actually follow through and expand into more. Does that make sense? Whereas like if it's a genuinely aligned goal, right? And there are so many ways you can tie like genuinely aligned goals into things, right? People do it, and like I've done it through all of these ways. They do it through like me making this much money through this offer will benefit my family like this, right? Me having this much money will benefit me and my business for this reason, right? Or me getting this many people in will benefit me and, like the people who I truly believe need it, right? And me making this much money reflects that I'm helping this many people with this thing that is so important, right? And I personally like a combination of all of them. Like I really believe in order for a goal to feel aligned and like consistent, there needs to be a selfless and a selfish reason, right? Because if it's only selfless, then it's like, it's gonna feel like I don't want to be taken advantage of vibes, right? Which will sabotage you. You'll self-sabotage. Or if you're only doing it for yourself or reasons for yourself, it's going to feel like I'm selfish, I'm a bad person, and you're going to self-sabotage because you don't want to be that person. Nobody wants to truly be a bad person, you know, in business. So, or in anything, I really believe that. But I mean, I'm not everybody, but I know you guys for sure, if you're attracted to this work, you don't want to feel that way, right? And if you don't check in with those things, they can creep up on you and like fuck shit up. So anyways, clear the past, right? Look at the data of like okay, you know what? Let's start here. So make sure you watch that training in that live stream that's like how to set and hit an aligned goal, right? And then I want you guys to know that like setting an aligned goal, like literally as long as I clear the past stuff, right? I can know what my aligned goal is. Does that make sense? So it's like, let's just say like, usually it starts like this. What number am I intuitively feeling drawn to, or what goal am I intuitively feeling drawn to, right? If it's like 50 people in this offer, or making $50,000 through this offer, or like whatever it is, however you want to put it, whatever feels aligned, right? Whatever you're feeling drawn and inspired to and led to. And then from there, it's like, decide to hit it, right? And you guys know what that deciding energy feels like, right? It feels like it's fucking done. It feels like, fuck yeah, I can have that, right? But if you don't feel that deciding energy, if it feels like you're not locking it in, and I think I said this to you guys on the last live stream or last training, where it's like you go to stick a key in the hole, right, and lock it, but it's like that locking it is like locking it in, it's done, it's decided. But if you don't feel that like fuck yeah 110% vibe, it's because there's like goo in the lock that's not letting you put the key in all the way to truly lock it in, right? So it's like when that's the case, it's because there's something you're holding on to that's not letting you decide. So that needs to be addressed, right? And for me, it's like, okay, one, is this goal aligned? Is this a cool goal? Or is this a trying to prove something goal? Or is this like, if I'm trying to hit this to feel secure or whatever? If it's any of those things, it's not aligned, or I'm not locking into the aligned perspective around that goal itself, right? So it could be like, oh, I want to make $50,000 through this because I would feel good enough, or I would feel cool, or I would feel worthy, or I would feel safe or secure or whatever. And it's like, that can't be the only reason. That's not true leverage. That's not true alignment, right? But when it's like, oh, I want to make $50,000 around or because of other reason, like it would support my life in this way, it would support my body of work and business in this way, it would support like other people in this way, and you choose and decide what that is, and you lock that and you connect to that, and it's like, oh my God, it makes so much sense, and it feels so logical for me to have this goal and hit it. You know what I mean? Then it's like, oh my God, decided, right? And then the other thing is like, what I've noticed from like personally setting goals for myself, when that's all taken care of, and I know the offer feels aligned, which we talked about in section 1, soul. So if you need to brush up on that, go listen to that again. But it's like, when it truly is an offer I'm genuinely excited about and I feel totally aligned with, and then I like, and then I have like cleared the past stuff and it doesn't feel like whatever, and there still feels like almost like this flinching energy or whatever. And I actually did this with this program I was mapping out like a couple weeks ago that I'm probably going to launch like next month. And I was like choosing a goal, like choosing like the number of people that I wanted in the program, because it's going to be a more hands-on program, and I'm like limiting the spaces to that because I can only have so many people with like hands-on stuff, right? And you know, from there, like something felt off about it, and I decided the amount of people I wanted, and it was 12. And I was like, why does that feel off? And it was like it just felt like a number, you know? But when I decided, I was like, okay, it makes sense for that many people to be in it, because it's like I, one, believe, right? And it was just like I had to kind of cut through the mental fog. I, one, believe that I can get that many people in. And two, that is the number that I want. That is how many people I want in there, right? But if you're setting up a number of like a goal of people in a program because it's like what you think you should have in order to hit a goal or whatever, so you feel safe or feel good enough or worthy or whatever, that's not true leverage. You know what I mean? But it's like when you're, like for me, like 12 people in that program, like using my example, is like, it makes sense based on like the amount of energy and time I'm going to put into it. And any more than that would feel bad. Any less than that wouldn't feel like fun. Does that make sense? Any less than that wouldn't feel fun. Any more than that would feel like too much. Does that make sense? So it's like, yes, this number makes total sense, right? And what I know for sure is that when I decide that, one, I want it, right? So it's just simply acknowledging like, yes, this is what I want. Yes, this is what I want, right? So then it's not like this mysterious elusive thing or whatever that's like, what if, right? And two, I know that once I decide that I want it, that I just have to decide that I can have it, right? And it's just like expanding your mind to the capacity of like, yes, this is available to me and I can have this, right? And then like truly, truly acknowledging that and deciding that. And then from there, it's like done, locked in, right? Is this making sense so far? Are you guys following? Are you guys following? Let me know. But let's go a little bit more into clearing the past, and leave me some comments and let me know. Okay, cool. So clearing the past, to me, it's like looking at the data, right? So let me think of like a launch of mine. Okay, so like launch day, I didn't hit my goal for the first time launching this. And I know why, right? Why I didn't was because I wasn't fully behind selling the program itself, right? They had some like, who the fuck do I think I am energy come up of like, there are people who probably teach on this who like maybe know more than me, or just whatever, like almost like imposter syndrome vibes came up, and I didn't deal with it and address it because I was like, I just didn't, right? It was uncomfortable. But it was like, when I look back on why I didn't hit my goal, and like, it was like my energy didn't feel super behind it or super excited about it the whole time, right? Whereas the launch I'm having now feels like that. It feels like easy, normal, and natural. Like, I've disconnected from my goal like maybe like 2 or 3 times, which is actually pretty good. But it's like I've connected back into it like really, really easily, because I'm like, I literally have it written down in my notebook, like, Genevieve, why are you gonna get 50 people in this time, right? And it's like 50 or more people, and it's like, why? Because like, I really believe in this program. I know that it's possible to get that many people in. Like, it's just easy. You know what I mean? Like, I know that I can have this many people in. I know that this is how many people I want. I know that like me getting it to that many people, like, will change their lives. And I truly believe in this work, like, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Like, there's no fucking, like, I don't doubt it at all, right? And anytime I've had doubt about it come up, I like have just genuinely reflected on the program. I'm like, do I think this program is good, right? And if I've had vibes that are like, you know, this module maybe wasn't as clear as it could be, then you know what I do? I fucking re-record the module, or I add another module that's like module 8 and Get Lit, and I think most of you are in there. When I was reflecting on the course like a couple months ago, I was like, you know, module 8 doesn't feel like it's going like deep to the core like I want it. Like, there's something, like, I didn't explain something as well as I could have. So I literally was like, I'm gonna re-record module 8. And what I did was I left module 8, the first one, in there, and then I just added module 8 part 2, right? So now they get access to both. So now they get more content. And then I'm like, yeah, I feel really good about that. I'm definitely behind that. And then from there it was like, fuck yeah, like, this program is amazing, everybody needs it, you know what I mean? But it's like being willing to like go in and address those vibes and those insecurities and those fears, and be like, and like, I've even launched in Get Lit. Like, Get Lit is like my favorite example to use, where I've had times come up that I'm like, is this program even that good, you know? And you know what I do? You know what I do? I go back and I listen to the modules, right? While I'm like cleaning, or like while I'm driving or whatever, and I go back and I'm like, God damn, that shit is fire. You know what I mean? Like, that's really good. That's genuinely like the stuff that I implemented in my life and business. That's genuinely like the work that I did that worked for me. That's still the work that I do today, and it still works for me. Like, of course this is valuable. Of course it's good. Of course people need it, right? And then it cleared up that thing, right? Instead of it being like the monster under the bed, where it's like you just leave it alone, you ignore it, try and get over it. But it's like, if it's there, it's gonna be there until you deal with it, right? So it's like, you get off the fucking you get out of bed and you just fucking look under there, right? And you're like, one, there's either a monster over there that needs to be dealt with, right? So go grab your fucking baseball bat, or like whatever, however you believe you should handle that. Or you find out that there was nothing even there in the first place, right? And it was all in your head, right? But it's like really important that you clear up those insecurities. And I didn't do that for the first time when I launched Launch Slay. But it's like, now that I know what I didn't do and like what I could have done better, I didn't like, you know, hang on. For like a half a day, I was like, damn it. I could have done better. Like, what's wrong with me? Energy. And I was like, Genevieve, that's not productive, right? That's not productive. Like, let's look at the actual data here. And it was like, yeah, you're right. So this is why I didn't go the way I wanted it to. The goal, I don't even remember what my goal was, honestly. I was like, no, I do remember. And it wasn't aligned. It was like a trying to prove something to myself goal. And I was like, that goal wasn't aligned. You got in your head because you were trying to prove something. And then because you were in that trying to prove something energy, you got into this, like, I'm not good enough energy around the content. And like when you were promoting the actual program itself, and like, that's not conducive to like you having your flow, you having a good time, and like you like being consistent, right? Because it's like consistency during a launch feels hard if you're in your head, or if you're like putting all these rules or things of who you think you have to be or how you have to do things in order for like it to work, which is never ever true. Like, it's literally just like, if you guys do what I teach you in this, like, you guys are gonna have such like big, easy launches, like, I'm telling you. But I was like, let's just be really real and really honest. What was it? And I was like, I fucking felt slightly like a fraud promoting this, right? I was like, I've had like, not every single one of my launches have been like better and better and better and better. And I was like, but are you teaching something that every time you do that, it works? And I was like, yes, right? And I cleared that up the last day of my launch, right? But had I cleared that up, like, whenever it came up, like the first week of my launch, like my energy would have been way more aligned. I would have been way more inspired, way more excited, and showed up and like really, really promoted it in a way that was like fun and worked, right? Because that energy, like for me, when I'm talking about something, when I'm excited about something, I can't fucking shut up about it. You know what I mean? And I know we're all the same, where it's like, if you just like, right when you first meet someone that like you're really into and you're like, oh my gosh, they're into me too, and like I know they are and I can tell or whatever, and you just like want to talk to your friends about that relationship constantly. You're like, oh my god, like, oh, and he does this thing and it's so cute, and I'm like, you know what he said to me? And they're like, yeah, you already told me. And you're like, it's fine, I'm gonna tell you again, because you know what I mean? And it feels like that when you're launching something you're really excited about that your energy's behind. It's like you can't fucking shut up about it, and it doesn't feel like you're trying to tell people about it to get something. It's because you're genuinely fucking excited about it, right? So it's always like about addressing the thing so that you can stay in that energy naturally, right? Because it's like the Abraham Hicks analogy, like if you're a cork floating on the surface of the water, all you have to do is like limiting ideas that disconnect you from your shit is like you practicing an idea or perspective that isn't true, so you hold your cork under the water, right? And once you like address that and let it go, it's like you're gonna bob back to the surface, right? I truly believe that like when you decide, when you lock something in, it's like you just have to keep maintaining that throughout, and then it's really easy, right? But yeah, clearing the past is really just like, okay, why am I afraid to set this goal, right? That's something that you need to, like, if you feel like anxiety come up about setting a goal, or you wouldn't even let yourself set a bigger goal, why? Why, right? Like you need to check in and see what's there so that you can address it. Why want to let myself set the bigger goal? Or why am I afraid to? Or why am I not feeling totally behind this, right? Because you know what it feels like to feel totally behind something, and when it doesn't feel that way. So it's like, why don't I feel totally behind this? Or whatever, right? And it's like, oh, because last time I set this goal, I didn't hit it. Or last time I hit this goal, it was fucking boring and exhausting, and I don't want to do that again. I don't want to feel like I'm compromising myself. I don't want to feel like I'm doing things in a way that I don't want to do, right? So you can figure out what the actual thing is that's going on and be like, okay, one, why didn't I hit that goal? Let's be really honest with myself so that it's not just some mysterious, disempowering, elusive story that I have no say or control over, right? Because if you leave it there, it's a disempowering place to leave it, and then you have nothing that you can do about it. You know what I mean? If it's just like, oh, I just didn't hit the goal because I just fucking did it, and I have no idea why, right? It's like, then yeah, I'd be pretty scared too, right? So it's like, go in and address it. I didn't hit the goal because I was thinking and believing this at the time when I was selling it. Or maybe the program was something that I pulled out of my ass as a way to make money. So it wasn't actually something I wanted to do, so I wasn't excited about it. Right? And because I wasn't excited, I wasn't consistent, or I wasn't clear in my content, or I just wasn't excited, you know? And like, I don't know, I just feel like it's so much, things just sell so much more easily when you're genuinely like excited about them, you know, when you genuinely believe in them. So just making sure that you're in that place. So yeah, making sense so far, guys? And then it's like, once you like address and see why things actually didn't work or didn't go the way you want them to, it's just like learning from that, right? Like I remember one of the last Get Lit launches I did, you know, my past Get Lit launches were bigger than that. And I was like, it was still like a good launch, but it was like, it just felt like it was like, okay, there's something off there, right? And I was like, what was it? And I was like, the way I was promoting it felt boring. So like, I know for me during my launches, especially courses, not so much, like it varies a little bit from like group things to one-on-one, unless I genuinely feel inspired to like repeat the same model, then I will. But I feel like for courses, for example, like certain things I like to do, like just an example, one of the things I like to do during a course launch is like, I like doing a free 3-part training series, right? And like last time I launched Get Lit, I repeated the same 3-part training series that I've always done, which is like Make Money Your BFF. And then it was kind of boring to me, but I just like couldn't be bothered to like tune in and like pick something that was like exciting and aligned at the moment. And I just did it anyways. And I remember talking about it, and I was just like felt kind of stale around it and was like bored. But it was literally like this launch I'm actually going to start like talking about it today, or advertising it today. Like I'm doing a 3-part training series next week, and I'm so fucking excited about it. Like I was like in the shower this morning thinking about it, and I was like, I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. Right. And that's how the things in business should feel. That's how the things during launches should feel. And if they don't feel like that, you're either practicing an idea that's like, I'm not allowed to do this, or I'm setting rules on how I think I should have to do this, so I'm not letting myself do it the way I want to, or I'm just doing something I don't want to do, or I'm not behind something fully, or whatever it is, and you need to figure out what that is and shift it. but yeah, like literally. And when something's like fun in the promotional period or like the launching of your offer, if it doesn't feel like that, it fucking gets to, and it can, right? And when it feels like that, when it feels fun, when it feels easy, when it feels inspiring, and it feels like so exciting, right? Then it's like, and I just like shook my boobs, right? Because it was like, it feels like that, right? Then it's like, it's so easy to show up for. It's so easy to follow through on, right? And then it's so easy to have the biggest launch you've ever had in your entire fucking life, right? Okay. And then here's the other thing, showing up for it fully and trusting the process, not needing instant validation to know and decide that it's working. Okay, so this has come up for me in like so many launches. Like my first $50,000 launch, this came up almost every single fucking day. And it took some mental focus to like shift out of it, but it was all about just like, I set that goal to me, and like that goal to me at the time, and it was $50,000 cash. So it was like, that goal to me was like, this is kind of crazy. This is like doubling my launches, and like, I know it's possible, I know it's available, but it was literally like, and like full transparency, I was just trying to manifest money for my taxes a couple years ago, and because I didn't save for them at the time. But anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm paying my taxes on time, and it was like the highest tax bill I had to pay, and it was like 20,000 in taxes or something like that, and then plus like my normal business expenses, life things, and then just like buying myself a new bag or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was like literally, I went through the list, which again is in that bonus training / live stream that's in the group. So go watch that if you haven't. Go watch it again if you need to. It's seriously so good. Give it the time and the space it needs to really sink in. It'll help you so much. But anyways, so I was like, I just started going through it, and I made each thing non-negotiable, and I was so unavailable to not hit my goal that anytime like fear came up that was like, whatever, I dealt with it, right? And I remember like standing over there in the other room. Whenever I tell these stories that are so like the moment, right? I'm like, I remember exactly where I was standing. But I remember like standing over there, and I was like having a pretty good launch. Love that training, good. I was having a pretty good launch, but I was like, am I gonna hit my goal? Like, I have to make sure like I keep up with it, like things, like whatever, don't get complacent. Make sure I'm continually like checking with the energy and shifting it if it gets off or out of alignment or whatever. And I was like, felt this anxiety, right? And I was like, so I put my hand over my chest, and I was like, why am I feeling anxious? And I was like, I don't think it's working, or I don't think it's gonna work, is literally like the thought. And I was like, why? And it was because like, this was literally the thought, because I'm not having a sign up every single second of every single day is like what it felt like. It wasn't necessarily like the exact thought, but it was like, I need constant validation in order to believe that this is gonna work, right? And I was like, seriously? Like, I mean, yeah, maybe one day I'll have a launch where like the entire launch period, somebody's signing up every single second of every single day, and I'm available for that, but it's like, and that'd be cool, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, that's not really realistic. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I don't need the money to be here right fucking now, or I don't need to be at my goal right now or past my goal right now in order to know and redecide that it is working. So you know what I did? I went on my rebounder, and I jumped, and I was like, it's working, woo, it's working. Oh my God, yeah, it's working. And I just like got myself in that, and I just like shifted the energy, right? And, but past launches, and I made myself shift the energy because I had leverage, because I was like, I need to pay my taxes, and I have like shit to pay for, right? But in all reality, like I could have like gotten on a payment plan, like waited, but I was like, I'm unavailable for that. I'm not doing that, right? And, so anyways, I had leverage, right? So that goes to show you guys that it's like, I always had that ability to shift it, but I just wouldn't, because I was being mentally lazy, because I didn't have a reason to, because I was being complacent, right? And I truly believe we all have that kind of capacity, if that makes sense, where it's like, we don't go beyond a certain place because we don't want to shift the mentality, because we're being mentally lazy, because we don't have a reason to shift it, right? And so in that moment, I was like, I can do this all the time, and I don't have to like have a big tax bill due in order to like hit my fucking goal, or be focused, like, and not even focused in the sense where it's like, but it's like to be on top of my energy. You know what I mean? I can just be on top of my energy because I want to feel good, because I want launching to feel good, right? Because I want launching to feel easy, and it does feel easy when I feel mentally clear, and when I feel like I'm not letting the fear, the anxieties, or the what ifs, or the like it's not working energy win, right? So I shift that for me, and the launch outcome is a byproduct. Make sense? But literally, so I shifted it in that moment, but it wasn't like I shifted into that one moment and it never came up again. No, it came up several more times during that launch, maybe even like 10 or 20 times, but it was like, it was very subtle and it was very subtly there. But it was like anytime I felt bad or felt like an off energy, like I just addressed it and addressed it and addressed it and addressed it. And so then I stayed excited about what I was selling. I stayed behind my goal and I just reconnected to it over and over again. Like, why am I calling in this money? One, that was like the first launch where I really, really got behind like the value of Get Lit, like fully. And I was like, one, I know people need this, right? And if I have something, like, I'm just one of those people that's like, if I have something for people that I know will help them, I'm gonna fucking tell them about it, you know what I mean? And so it was just like being in that energy within the launch, and also like, I have leverage, I have a reason for me to hit that goal as well, right? So selfless and selfish reason, right? And so it was like, I kept shifting, and then hit my goal. And I remember like staying up on the last day of my launch. I stayed up until like 12:30, and I stayed up until 12:30, and then like literally it was like 11. I was maybe like 2 or 3 people away, right? And I still was like, yeah, it's happening. And it was like 11:50, nothing. 11:52, nothing. 11:53, nothing. 11:54, nothing. 11:55, nothing. 11:56, a sign up. 11:57, sign up. 11:58, nothing. 11:59, 3 signups. And then I like hit my goal. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, this wouldn't have happened. Like, this wouldn't have happened if I didn't like hold the energy, right? And little things that I've noticed is like when I'm holding the energy versus when I'm not during a launch, for example, it's like I'm willing to do that one last post, right? I'm willing to do that one last little email that's like reminding them that there's only a couple hours left to get it for $200 off, or that the doors are closing or whatever. Like, I'm willing to do that one little thing that makes a difference. You know what I mean? Okay, how do you distinguish between seeing if you're using something you need to pay for as leverage versus like, I need this / lack energy? You decide what the difference is always. So it's like, I could have used that as like, so let's go back to the tax example when I was like manifesting money for taxes. You know what I could have done? I could have been like, oh my God, that's so scary. It's such a big number. Oh my God, like freak out, but I have to. Oh my God, I have to. I'm going to try, right? And like that energy, like that feels like, I'm going to try my hardest. I'm going to try so hard. But you know, if it doesn't happen, it's scary, right? But it was like, no, I'm deciding that this isn't a big deal. I'm deciding that the taxes isn't like the drama bullshit. And it's just like something that I just am going to do, you know? Just like if you have to go pee, right? You can like sit there and overanalyze it and be like, I have to pee, and make it a big deal. Or you can just get your ass off the couch, like in my scenario right now, get your ass off the couch, go upstairs and fucking take a piss. You know what I mean? It's just like taking the drama out of it, right? But it's always like you decide where the energy is coming from. But I think it's like, when you tune into like your genuine soul-aligned authentic desire, which to me at the time with the tax example, it was like, it was a genuine aligned desire for me to pay my taxes on time, right? Like, and I chose that, and it was just like something that was like, yeah, I'm choosing and deciding this. Like, I don't technically have to pay my taxes on time. Like, I can like get on the payment plan, but I was like, I just don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to pay it on time, and I want to pay it in full, right? And so, LOL, yeah. So, and I was like, I want to pay it in full, like that, like I'm deciding to do that. Like I'm choosing like that, like I'm choosing that's aligned, because it's like my circumstances are, hey, taxes are about to be due, bitch. And like, you want to pay them, like period, right? And you have to pay taxes. So it's like, it's a soul line desire to pay taxes. You know what I mean? And so it was just like removing the drama from it and deciding, right? And just like not coming at it from like a frantic, trying my damn hardest energy, and instead coming at it from like I'm deciding to have this, and I'm gonna like stay on top of my shit because I get to, right? Like I get to, like I don't have to like, things don't have to be hard. Like this doesn't have to be hard. This doesn't have to be dramatic. Does that make sense? Yeah, perfect. Got it. Like, I don't have to, but I want to distinction, totally. Because, like, a have to is, like, lack, and it's, like, pressuring, and it's, like, what if I can't do it? But it's, like, because, you know, like, for the tax thing, for example, too, is, like, I had to do it, at least at some point. But it was, like, I had to do it, and I wanted to do it. And it was, like, that's why want is so important. Like, we have to come at things from, like, genuine desire, right? Otherwise, it's, like... And, like, not just, like, an elusive, like, it'd be nice to have $1 million in the bank. But it's like, why? Why? Like, what's the actual purpose and reason? right? And I'm not saying like you have to be like, oh, me having $1 million, I would spend it all immediately on all of these things, because some people like to do that. But it's like, that would, like I'm deciding to have this much money in my account, and I'm deciding to buy this thing and have this experience and invest in this or whatever. And like, but also I just get to elevate to this new higher standard, right? What do I want and why, right? That's always like the way you probe to see if it's like a genuinely aligned desire or goal. What do I want and why? So it's like, if you have like, I want to have a 6-figure launch, why? Right? Because I really believe all of you in this program will get to that level eventually, but it's like, I feel like if we're like rushing it, or it's like it needs to happen right now, or it needs to be this launch, like we can decide that and like clear up the things, but it's like, I really believe that it's like, we're all going to get there eventually. So it's like, what's the fucking hurry? You know what I mean? Like, why, like, really, what is the hurry? And then you want to know where it will come from? That would be cool. I would feel like such a badass, right? Trying to prove something energy, right? Or I would feel so safe and secure. I wouldn't have to work for like da-da-da-da-da. You're not feeling safe energy. You need to provide that for yourself, right? Like, go into launching being your own source, and things will be a hell of a lot easier. And then it's just maintaining that throughout, you know? Okay. Showing up fully for it, did that. Not using instant validation to know and decide that it's working. And literally, guys, like, you're just gonna have to decide to do this. Make it a fucking rule for launching, okay? Decide. And like, I even decide this like until like the day after the launch. Like, and it's like, it's almost like an energy that I stay in no matter what, right? And I always like to compare like relationships to this, where it's like, you stay in the energy until you get it, and even past then, right? And then it just becomes who you are, right? So like when my last relationship ended, I decided, like I always knew this, and I think maybe we all have this belief on some level, and if not, you can decide to have this belief, right? Because beliefs are just choices that we practice, right? You know, when my last relationship ended, I was just like, I know I'm gonna find like the relationship that I want eventually, and like I don't have to worry about it. I'm not in a hurry. I'm still gonna have fun and like do my thing until then. It's like ain't no thing, right? And it was like I was just staying in that energy like until it happened, and then it happened, and then it was like even now still I'm still staying in that energy, because who knows, this relationship could eventually fall away, but it's like I'm still gonna stay in that energy, right? Or who knows, like maybe we'll be together forever and like we'll have like 10 babies and get married or like whatever. I don't want 10 babies, but you know what I mean? But it's like either way, like that energy comes from me always, not the relationship, not the launch, not the goal, not the money, not the shit, right? It always comes from you. So it's like choosing and deciding to be in that energy regardless. So anytime you get out of the energy, which you will, and you will multiple times, I do multiple times during launches, everybody I know does multiple times during launches, but it's like reconnect, redecide, reconnect, redecide, reconnect, redecide, because it's like one little thought of like this isn't working, going unaddressed, has the ability to like totally fuck things up, right? So it's just like not making it a scary thing. Don't make it like, oh my gosh, I have so much to stay on top of. But it's just like when you're someone who cares about how she or he feels, you're willing and available to shift things as they come up, right? For the sake of like someone who loves themselves, right? That's like almost like if you have this belief, like taking care of your body and like you want to be that person, that's a habit you have established. It's almost like making it hard or a big deal to take care of your body. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? You know? So it's like the same thing for launching and like when your mindset gets out of whack, you know? Okay, so what else did I want to talk about? But yeah, literally like and even in this launch, like I did the, like I like to do $200 off for some courses, not all of them. But I did $200 off for like a week, right? And I had so many fucking signups, which was really cool. But it was like, I didn't even like, I never felt worried about it ever, right? And I remember, I decided, so I was originally going to close the wait list for $200 off, like not yesterday, but the day before, right? And I had so many fucking people sign up on that day. Like it was crazy. Like it was like more people I've ever had, I think, sign up on a like last day of something, right? But we're going to talk about that more in the strategy part. But, so I had a lot of people sign up, but, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So I decided like, this is where there's like no, like you can do things how you want to do them. Right. And, I randomly just like woke up the next day and I like, okay, so the last day of the thing, and I have this rule where I like show up on the last day of anything, last day of a bonus ending, last day of the launch or whatever, like my schedule, like I'm for sure going to show up unless I have like whatever. And things have adapted. Like sometimes I'll do retargeting ads now or whatever, but it's like, I still like to do like that last live stream or maybe 2 live streams. And it's like coming from the place of fun. And like, I want to show up for this and this feels good vibes, not like I have to vibes. and more like emails on the last day, more like posts or whatever, more reminders. But you know, randomly, like my boyfriend was like, hey, I want to go to Wilmington, which is where his parents live, like for the day, like I'm just decided within the last 10 minutes to go, do you want to come? And I was like, you know, I was planning on writing like a bunch of emails today, and like, cause that felt good. And I was like, and I have to live stream, and I was like, but I want to go, like, I want to go. So I'm going to go and like everything gets to be fine. Right. And it wasn't like an either or, it wasn't like an abandoning the business or abandoning the relationship, which had I was like not going, it would have been like, well, I can't go because my business, like check the boxes, perfect. Right. Or if I would have went and decided not to do the work, it would have felt like abandoning my business. Right. And it wouldn't have felt, neither of them felt aligned. So it was like, I want to go. So I'm going to go and I'm deciding to go. Got my shit together and I was like, wrote a couple emails and I was like, the rest can wait. Like I don't have to do them all right now and blah, blah, blah. And, but like things I want to do that feel good and like feel like I'm fully showing up for myself, right? Just like going to the gym, if you're someone who like values taking care of his or her body and working out, then it's like you value like going to the gym and actually putting in like the energy that your body wants to expel at the gym, or like, you know, versus like going and being like, not doing much, right? It's like you feel better when you fucking went for it at the gym and you get home, you're like, yeah, I feel good, right? Versus like when you just went and half-assed it, right? So it's like the same energy like in your business and showing up for it fully. It's like I feel like I wanted to show up for it fully, so I went with him and I just did a fucking live stream in the car and I just didn't make it a big deal, right? And I'm just like allowed to do it how I want to do it. And then I did my part. And I already had the emails like scheduled to go out like ahead of time. And then it was just like, I was literally just like hanging out with my boyfriend and his parents. And I was like, I remember like sitting, we drank like 2 glasses of wine together, like all of us, and we were just talking, and I made like, but the period of time, like when we were talking and hanging out, I made like $5,000 cash. And I was just like, cool, right? Because like I did my part, but I also wasn't obsessively like checking everything every second. I was like being relaxed. And I honestly like was being present in my life. And I feel like that's important too. Like I feel like so many people can act like fucking psychos during launches, where it's like, there is like a balance vibe, if that makes sense, where it's like you can fully show up for your life while also fully showing up for your business without depleting yourself. You know what I mean? And I believe that is found in you doing things the way you want to do them while also doing the things you want to do in life, and like finding a way to navigate that, right? Like this launch, for example, this is the first launch where I've ever like pre-planned the majority of emails for my launches, right? Like all of my content that I'm posting every day is still organic. Some of it's recycled, like on social media, but it's like all my emails for the most part have been like already written, already planned out, already scheduled. Not all of them. Like I think like tomorrow I'm gonna like write out the rest of them, but like it's already there. And it's like this thing in the background where it's like in previous launches it would be like, okay, I want to write an email every day, then on the last days of whatever I want to write a couple emails or whatever. Also I want to live stream every day also because I like live streaming. Also I want to do a free 3-part training series. Also, you know, I need to pick dates for these things and whatever, and like pick the date for when I'm starting launching and ending launching and just all these things, right? And it just felt so easy for me, like when I pre-planned everything, or like at least the emails, right? And it was actually really easy to do. Like I just had this thing where it was like, I didn't have to worry about it and I could just show up and it's been easy. So it's like, that's already taken care of, and I just have that much more energy and availability to create and be in flow. But I know for sure, had I not pre-planned those emails, there would be this energy of like pressure a little bit in my head that's like, oh, you got to make sure you do this and do the emails. But it's like the fact knowing that the emails are already taken care of and done, it's like it creates this like freedom energy that's like where the flow and the creativity is, which is where the inspired content comes from. So showing up every day has felt literally so fucking easy and fun. So, and then from there, guess what? It's selling really easily, you know? So, and I want to say this, and how long have we been on here? I don't want to make this too long, but I do feel like we have 48 minutes. Okay. Okay. So what else was I going to say? I got distracted by a message. Okay. The other thing I want to say is like showing up, and we'll talk about this more in like strategy, but the strategy section, but like literally, you guys, like for my launches, what I've noticed works is like, one, all I have to do is be clear and like who my program is for and why they need it, right? And like for Get Lit, like what you'll notice if you guys go and look at my content around it, it's like at the end of every post, it says like why they need to join right now or whatever. And then literally like, this is the course for blah, 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 blah. Like I literally come back to this work every single day. Like I'm literally recycling that at the end of every single post. Like that's how not stressful is that at all, right? Literally write my inspired content, copy, paste that part, done. You know what I mean? Like it's so easy. And it says like, this is for you if money feels like this, if your experience with money is like this, da, 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 da. Like this is for you if blah, 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 done. Join here, link in comments, right? Or get $200 off through tomorrow night, link in comments. Doors are closing on blah, blah, blah day, link in comments. You know what I mean? It's just like doing, and it's so fucking easy. It's so fucking easy. And then like my live streams and stuff, like I'm not one of those people that's like, and I feel like that's what the free challenge is for me, because I feel like there's kind of like an ebb and flow that I like to have during launches. It's like, okay, make sure you're clear on who the program's for. So for example, if I randomly was inspired to do a live stream I'm launching, right? That kind of ties into Get Lit with Money Bitch, but not really. But it's like I have the freedom and permission to flow for what's coming through me in the moment, as long as I'm being clear on who my program's for. So like, oh, inspired thing that wants to come through me, the message is coming through me or whatever. But then I find if I don't put any like rules or whatever, like it somehow ends up tying into the program that I'm selling. But also, even if it didn't, like I remember when I sold this course that I had like a really good launch for, and it literally felt like so easy. Rich Woo Bitches, like growing your coaching business to consistent 10K months. Like that felt so easy. And I was literally just live streaming every day, and I was talking about like dating and like hooking up with people. And I was like, here's how I'm like managing my energy around this, blah, 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 blah. Right. And I was also like, this is how this ties into business. It was just like fun, random thinking out loud vibes. Right. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm set. Like, if you want to make consistent 10K cash months in your business, like you need this program. We literally cover like the spiritual, the practical, like all of it. We're not just doing strategy. We're not just doing mindset. Like you're literally like, I'm taking you step by step through everything, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, this is no brainer as fuck, you know? And like, that's literally what I felt and genuinely believed. And so that's what I fucking said. And then a bunch of people joined and it was so easy, right? And something I randomly feel inspired to tell you guys is like, you don't know who's watching you launch. So please do yourself a favor and stop fucking going, nobody cares, nobody's paying attention, because that is bullshit. And I'm going to teach you guys some like random like tricks and things, not like tricks as in manipulative tricks or anything like that, but random little like techniques that I've used during launching that makes launching fun, for one, and two, just like kicks it into gear, right? So that like you get that momentum faster in launches, if that makes sense. So then it's like, because you got to think about launching as like building momentum, right? And until the fucking doors are closed, you got infinite like possibilities, availability, and time available to you to hit your goal, right? So if the doors aren't fucking closed yet, I don't want to see you thinking it's not working, okay? If you're fully showing up for it, doing your part, doing it the way you want to, and just being consistent and building that momentum, like, and you're keeping your shit right, you're gonna hit your goal. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. Random rookie question. That's not a rookie question, by the way. Is there a reason why you leave the link in the comment, not the post? Yeah. So it's fake. It's Facebook algorithm shit where it's like, I've noticed, and you guys can like take this, like, you're welcome. This might be more relevant to the strategy part, but what I've noticed from Facebook lately is like my stuff, like my Facebook group has been growing really fast during this launch. So has my personal page, and so that's basically it. Just those two things. But that's where I like to hang out the most, so I'm like liking it. But anyway, so I'm doing my live streams in my Facebook group, right? And anytime I do a live stream, I let people know on my personal page, like I'm gonna be live here, link to join in the comments. But I noticed that Facebook is trying to steer away people from advertising on their personal pages, so they're kind of like penalizing people for posting links in the actual posts on their personal pages. And I just started experimenting with that in my Facebook group as well. But I noticed the engagement is higher and more people see it. It gets in front of more people if there's not a link in the or in the actual content itself, but more so in the comments. But even then, like, I think Facebook is like shifting even a little bit, but not enough to like adjust anything. Where it's like, yeah. But I noticed like what performs the best on like personal pages is like sharing my life, sharing Genevieve, being excited and just sharing that there. And then also like redirecting them to my Facebook group, because that's where I'm like building my shit. That's where like I want the people that I'm like giving value to and selling to, you know. And like every once in a while, like I'll post like a sales thing on my personal page, but it's like predominantly it's in my Facebook group. So that's where I'm showing up and adding value the most, and that's where I'm selling the most, you know. Does that make sense? But anyways, back to what I was saying with like the showing up and like showing up from your heart, like literally like with my live streams, as long as you're clear and you're like being like, okay, I have this thing and like this is for you if blah 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 blah, and you're like marketing to the people who want, I feel like I'm getting into strategy stuff. That's fine. We'll just let it flow. But there's also more that we can talk about on that in the strategy section. But as long as I'm being clear in who it's for, and I'm just continually reminding people of that, like, you need to know, see, two things are trying to come out of my mouth at once. Okay. As long as I'm being clear, I'm allowed to say and do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I've had really successful launches where, like I said, I was just live streaming every day and talking about like hooking up with dudes and like random people and like going out to bars, getting drunk and like just being my own source and having a good time and not giving a fuck, right? And then also sold a program that was about like having consistent 10K cash months, you know what I mean? And it was just like, it is what it is. But you know what I've noticed, and I talked about this on a live stream the other day actually, which was like, when I give myself permission to, one, do things the way I want to, and two, let myself be a person and share that with people, it's like I drop into the flow where there is like that teaching and the adding value vibe, right? We're like, like the other day I was on a live stream and I was like talking about how I was pissed off at Facebook because they changed the rules around bit.ly links and you're no longer allowed to share those on Facebook. And if you do, like, they won't let you post them, or they'll like hide the content so nobody can see it. And like literally Facebook, one of my freaking live streams that was like the pin live stream in my Facebook group was marked as spam, and it was like, sorry, no one can see this right now but you because it's spam. It goes against our community guidelines. And I was like, what the fuck, why? And like Facebook wouldn't tell me why. And then I was like trying to send a bit.ly link to my assistant, and it was like retry. And then I was like Googling stuff, and I was like, okay, Facebook's not letting me post links. Like, what is that? And I was just like reading some like threads on the internet, and some people are like, oh, that it can mean that they've banned like your link. And I was like, did Facebook ban my shit? Because I've had a couple like delinquent ads, meaning, or not delinquent ads, but like ads where they're like, sorry, you're not allowed to say that word, naughty little girl, denied. Like, you can't, we're not approving your ad. So I was like, man, they're just like coming at me because of my ad account or whatever, has like broken some rules. But you know, I was like figuring it out, and then one of my team members, Alex, was like, one of my other clients is having problems with like bit.ly links, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, I am posting bit.ly links. It's the bit.ly links. And so when I started, like, we just adjusted and adapted, and that's just a part of business. You adjust and you adapt, right? And it's not hard. It's not a big deal. It's not scary. It's not hard. We're all capable. We all figure things out, right? But I was like, oh, it's the link. Change the link back in business, so to speak, you know? And it just wasn't a big deal. But I was like, on the beginning of my live stream the other day, I was like, it like kind of just got over that, and I was like, I'm super pissed at Mark Zuckerfuck is like what I was calling him, and I was just letting myself be there because that's where my energy was, and I was just honest and authentic and like letting myself be that, instead of like this weird story that I used to have in the past. It was like, I have to be like high and blissed out in life all the time to show up and teach, otherwise I have no value to give, or people don't like it, or people don't resonate. Bullshit, right? The more real and human I am, like the faster, one, I get over it, and two, the more fun I have, and three, because like there have been times where I've live streamed and something's bothering me and I just try and like put it out of my mind and I can't quite let go of it or whatever, and then I show up on the live stream and I feel like a fucking robot and I'm bored as fuck, and I'm just like, this isn't, like, I'm not feeling that flow, right? But when I allow myself to be fully authentic, while also dealing with my shit, I drop into that flow, right? So I was like, Mark Zuckerfuck and all these things, and I was like, haha, laughing, and then I was like, da-da-da-da-da, and then it was like random business rambles were coming out of my mouth, and then it was like awesome, life-changing shit, right? And then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so much value from Genevieve, let's buy her fucking course, right? And that's exactly how it goes. And then it was just like, when you're letting yourself do it that way, instead of like, who do I have to be, or how do I have to do this in order for it to work? Bullshit, no, ew. And I'm just like, no, it's a lie, right? Like, fuck off. It's like that energy in me, I don't know. But it's like, when I'm just like taking away the rules and I'm letting myself do it the way I want to do it while also being consistent. So it's easy to be consistent, and I know I want to be consistent, right? Bodies want to move, like that reference at the beginning. It's easy, right? And then you drop into that flow, and then it's like people buy your shit. And then at the end, it's like, I could be talking about freaking my relationship or whatever, and that can, like, it always ends up tying into the subject somehow, way, shape, or form. But even if it didn't, and sometimes it hasn't, is like, I'm still just like, okay, I want to remind you guys, like, there's this many days to join, and like, this is for you if blah, 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 and like, I really, really believe in this, like, this will change your life, this is how it's changed mine, these are some things people have done in it, like, whatever, right? And I'm just sharing that with people, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I have to join, right? And then they do. But I want to end this here, but I have one more thing to say, and then we're going to end it, because I don't want to give you guys too much right now. But What I want you guys to know is there have been times when I've launched where it doesn't look like anybody's paying attention or nobody gives a fuck or whatever. But what I have noticed is like the more and more I put that out of my mind and the more and more I just keep doing it anyways, shifting my energy, get back in the flow, like get back in alignment. It's like the more and more it's obvious that people do want it, right? The more and more, like, 'cause I used to be that person that would post like sales content, nobody would like it, or even like a give and ask content, which is like where you're like adding value and then like being like program pitch or whatever. And again, we'll talk about these things more in the strategy part and just like find ways that like you like to do it and whatever, because there's no like right or wrong way to do it, honestly. So yeah, like I used to be those, I don't know, like my first $50,000 launch, for example, I had sales posts that like nobody liked. Or I got one like, not a heart, a like, a fucking like, right? Or like no likes or no hearts or whatever. Or an email that I felt like I poured my fucking heart and soul into. And like usually when I do that, like people will respond like on my email list and be like, oh my God, thanks so much for this email. And then nobody responds. And I could be like, fuck, what am I doing wrong? Make my content better. Don't do that. That is bullshit. That is a lie that will fuck you up every time. As long as you know you're being clear and you're sharing from your heart, that is always, always, always enough. As long as you're being clear, sharing from your heart, and being consistent, that is all you ever need. That is all you need, ever, 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 ever. So stop needing to be validated because you need to validate you, right? And from there, it's like eventually this momentum will kick in during your launches. But again, I'm going to teach you guys something in the strategy part where it's like you can get the momentum going before you even start launching. And so then you get that right away, right? And that's always fun. But it's like from there, you don't know who's paying attention. Like I've had so many people, I've had people I've gone to high school with that I didn't even know fucking followed me on the internet buying my fucking courses and shit. And I'm just like, that's weird and random, but welcome to the course. You know what I mean? But it's like, and then I have this rule because it's fucking true. Like one time I launched something and one person was like, I'm so interested, blah, 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 blah. And then like 10 of the people that joined were like, oh my gosh, like I was like stalking the content. I kept almost buying it. And I waited till the last second and I'm so glad I got in, right? And like I got that message from so many people or whatever. And I'm like, for every one person that says they're interested, there are 10 people who are interested but just haven't told me yet, or about to join that haven't told me yet. And if I stop right now, right when they're on the fence, right when they're about to join a program that will literally change their life, fuck me, right? You know what I mean? Like, fuck that, not worth it, follow through, right? And then it's like those people come, they always come, you know? So for every one person that reaches out, there are like 10, 20, 30 people thinking about it, or about to join or whatever. But also like if nobody's reaching out, people are still watching, people are still interested. They're still like, act like regardless of like whether you get any engagement on your content, as long as you know you're being clear, you're being consistent, you're speaking from your fucking heart, and you're doing it the way you want to do it, so you're allowing yourself to have that space and that flow or whatever, then it's like, you validate you, fucking period. Act like everybody's reaching out. Act like everybody's joining. Act like it's the biggest, badassiest thing ever that the internet's ever seen in their entire lives, and it's yours to offer people, right? And you are a big fucking deal, and people would be lucky to join. That energy will carry you through to the point where you actually get that validation or feedback, but don't need it. Don't ever need it. Do you recommend something specific we can do this week to apply this wisdom? So I gave random journaling prompts throughout, so do those. But also, like, the main point is just, like, let go of the past. So if there's anything I'm holding on to, let go of it. Get clear on, like, what your goals are and why, right? So get clear on what your goals are and why. And then if there's any funky energy around that, clear it. Decide that, like, when you get to the aligned goal, you want to just decide that, one, I want this, so acknowledge that fully and completely. And two, that I can have this and I get to, and I just have to decide. And then to do that, right? And if anything comes up, clear the idea, clear the fear, clear the holding on to past shit, whatever. And it's like, I always just look at the data for clearing the past shit, like I told you earlier in the live stream. And then I also do like a combination of like forgiveness work, which is like module 8 of my Get Lit course, where I like put my hand over my heart. And if I feel like an emotional charge around it, like I forgive myself, like this doesn't mean anything about me or my work is still good enough, like I'm good enough, I'm allowed, and I just have to get out of my own fucking way, and that's only ever the issue, right? I forgive myself, I'm willing to move forward, I'm deciding that this is a brand new experience, and I'm a brand new person who gets to have this thing, right? And then from there, also, what else? Not needing instant validation. So really keep up with that. Like if you're launching something right now and you're needing that instant validation, I really think like the strategy section is going to tie in really nicely to the mindset section, because it's really going to be like, okay, this is how I figure out what I want to do and how I'm going to promote it and how I'm going to offer it. But also, and then you'll have like the mindset section to kind of come back to. So like as shit comes up or whatever, like fears, doubts, whatever, you can like kind of be like, oh yeah, this isn't reality based. This is how I let go of it. This is how I shipped out of it. And it's literally just like creating the space to be aware of like these ideas that are making it feel hard, and then just like realigning it, you know? And then, yeah, something else I would like you guys to, we'll save that for next time, actually. Save that for next time. Does anybody have any questions? Questions. I'm gonna wait a second if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we're also gonna be doing a Q&A live stream next week, and I will cover any questions you have around mindset stuff, or you guys can even come to the live stream with like specific things that have come up for you during launches that I will totally help you shift. Sound good? Alrighty. Just gonna wait one more second, just sip on my tea, just in case. But yeah, just with mindset stuff, like you're your own worst enemy, so to speak. Like it's never, like you always have a say. You always like, you decide what sells, right? You decide what's valuable. You decide like what's enough. And yeah, I just feel like it's just taking the drama out of it and being willing to like take the space to like shift things as they come up, and just like let things be easy, right? Like one of the ways I let things be easy for this launch was like, I know that like writing emails and doing live streams and like fresh organic content every day, like started to feel overwhelming, right? So I was like, but I also know that I want to reach, like, I want to max out my platforms, if that makes sense. Not max it out in the sense where it's like, whatever, but I just want to show up fully for it, right? Like I want to go to the gym and actually work out. I don't just want to sit there and be like, walking on the treadmill, right? Like I will for a little bit and then I fucking go at it. But it's like, I don't, like, I want to make, like, I want to live up to my fullest potential, right? And I want to like max out my capacity at the time. And yeah, so it's like I just let it be easy by like pre-planning like the email content, and then it's like showing up for my like social media organically felt easy. You know, if ever I didn't have like an idea or whatever, which is like not like I've literally like every single day like there's something inspired content that's coming through me, and you guys are gonna find out because I'm gonna do a live stream in my Facebook group today for the message that's come through me today. So yeah, and it's gonna be about upper limits, which I've, you know, like I've actually already made like 2 live streams about, and I'm gonna talk about it in my 3-part training series. But it's like there's always like a different perspective on how to share things, and it's like I'm not putting any rules of like can't talk about that, you've already done it, or think of something else or whatever. It's like this is what's coming through me, this is what I'm intuitively drawn to right now, so this is what I'm allowed to do. So yeah, because I had one come up in my life that I want to talk about and like how it is relevant. So yeah, all right, I love you guys. Listen to this again, listen to it again, seriously. The more you listen to it, the more it's going to sink in, and the more normal, natural, and easy it is going to feel for you to have bigger and bigger and easier launches. So give yourself that. And then I will be posting in the group probably this weekend or maybe the beginning of next week, and be picking a day for the Q&A for this section. Don't forget, like, listen to this. If you have questions specifically related to the mindset part, any mindset issues you have that you want addressed, bring those. And if you can't be live, then just like leave them on the thread where I'm like, this is a day and time we're doing it. And then, what else? I think we'll probably do it Friday because my Get Lit launch closes on Thursday. So we might just do it Friday. Sound good? All right. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye.